Hey, it's you and me.
Let's go.
Can. I can't find pajamas, okay?
Okay.
Nothing fits me in the world. I'm too small for the world.
I'm sorry.
I am forever too small for the world. Every outfit, like shirts just fall off my shoulders because my shoulders are too tiny for everything in the world.
And that marked the true beginning of their quest.
Quiet. Their quest. They're going on a quest,
It
Jade?
would have been fun.
Where are we going? I don't
To
know. I
despair.
kind of have for quests, as far as quests go, I'm kind of forever scarred from Pauline and Avi's quest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no more questing. And that marked the true beginning of their quiet days together in the dark mansion. They acknowledged and accepted each other's presence, no longer isolating themselves, but actively, regularly conversing. As mundane as it might seem, it was something they had been unable to attain until then. Nonetheless, they were still somewhat fumbling around in the dark with one another, drawing closer and pushing away again. Michel, in his own ungraceful way, was beginning to open himself up to the things she said. And the white-haired girl was beginning to smile with greater frequency. They had taken to dining together, and her wish of learning to read was being granted. He taught her in the feeble light of a candle placed upon the table, the two sitting across from one another. Though Michel seemed to be well educated, he had not been instructed in the art of teaching, so he found the process quite grueling.
Yeah.
But to the white-haired girl, the longer it took, the better. Her primary objective was, after all, to spend time with him. The days passed, and eventually, she reached the point where her comprehension was adequate enough without assistance. Her next request, then, was for them to read through a book together.
Have you read every book in the library?
No, I stopped looking at them after a while. Most everything I'm sent is dull, uninformative dreck. The Diary of a Lord, foolish make-believe tales.
You're not fond of fiction, I take it?
What value is there in the lies and fantasies of another?
That's where we are, though.
Mm-hmm.
Stories can be invigorating. Tales of adventure can take you places you could never go. That's why I love them. Legends of heroes, folklore, stories of otherworldly phenomena. They can be terrifying, and they can be exhilarating. They may not be real, but they give you a little glimpse into the author's heart. Let you feel like you're seeing the same thing they saw.
You are a very empathetic girl. Fiction inspires nothing of the sort in me. However, perhaps long ago, it may have been able to, though I can no longer remember what it feels like.
I'm sure it will come back to you. You're not an empty man. Sorry. I'm making you uncomfortable again. How about we read this book today?
It appears to be a collection of legends.
You haven't read this one yet, then? That's good to hear. It'll be more enjoyable if it's a new experience for both of us. It looks like it's a record of local legends.
The book's divided into several sections, though it appears to be mostly superstitions.
I am curious what kind of stories this area has.
The two of them were looking down at a simple, undecorated volume. As the white-haired girl had said, it seemed to be a collection of local legends passed down generation to generation. They sat across from one another at the table, her turning the pages, and Michelle simply watching so as to not brush against her.
He's so concerned.
Eventually, her eyes were drawn to a peculiar word on one of the pages, bringing her hands to a stop.
The witch.
That chapter detailed the story of a witch, or more precisely, said witch's curse. The story went something like this.
I'm scared.
Oh.
This music. Again.
There once was a witch skilled in the dark arts. She lived a meager but peaceful life alongside the other villagers. But then, a long, long drought struck the village, which the people blamed on the witch. The witch was sentenced to death, and as the fire blazed around her, smoke rose high into the air. The smoke soon became rain clouds, blessing the village with an end to the drought. The crops were revitalized, and the villagers fancied themselves heroes. However, the rain also brought madness upon the people. Though the earth below them was lush and fertile, the villagers were losing their minds, and they eventually began to take each other's lives. The witch still lived on, in the form of a curse. Many fell victim to the witch's curse. Though it did not only take, it also fulfilled people's desires. The villagers had gone mad, but their wish for freedom from the drought had been granted. Thus, the legend had been passed down as follows. The witch will grant your wish in exchange for a great sacrifice. As smoke in the sky, she watches down upon us from above. To reach the witch, climb for the heavens. But now that the road is a road to destruction.
People still believe the witch's legend, even now, I suppose. And that's why I
face accusations of being a witch. That is not an area very welcoming to outsiders, especially one who stands out as much as you. What brought you to this region in the first place?
Mine is a story I'm sure you've heard before. I was cast out of my house. I come from a very poor family. We could barely even afford to keep everyone fed. Being as weak as I am, it was only natural that I would be the first to go.
I see.
What I don't understand, though, is why the witch is said to grant people's wishes. That is to say, she had reason enough to hold a grudge, but not to give people things they asked for.
All we have to go on is a few pages. There's no saying what might have been changed or added over time, and it's also certain the entire legend isn't written here. That said, if we are to accept anything as written, you can infer what the witch's reason might have been.
And that is?
If you truly want it that much, you can have it, but I'll make certain your suffering outweighs it. Despair that comes from a moment of happiness is far more agonizing than despair alone. I presume that is why the witch decided to grant people's wishes.
That is one way to look at it. May I ask you something?
Go on.
When I first arrived here, you told me a cursed witch used to live in this mansion. After reading this legend, I am now finding it hard to believe you made that up simply to scare me away.
I appropriated the tale, nothing more. It is said the witch was born in this house.
What?
Quite the place my family found for me. But it was a clever decision putting me here, I think. Not many people are likely to come near a house with such a pedigree.
But... No, never mind. That makes sense.
I suspect I know what she was going to say then. If the witch is said to grant wishes, then wouldn't that also attract people who so desperately want something?
That's true.
They do not care what price they must pay. And perhaps she was correct. Perhaps there had been those who had come to the mansion chasing after the legend. And perhaps they had encountered Michel, touched him, and lost their lives. On that day in the garden, he said, "Many things are buried here." Perhaps that included such visitors.
I wonder if that story might be more than just superstition.
If the witch of legend really did exist, what would you do?
It might be nice to talk to her, maybe.
That's all? Really?
I feel a little bad for her, though. The only people who ever visit her are there to ask for something after all. I can only imagine just how lonely that must be.
I swear, I cannot comprehend the way your mind works.
She always surprises every master of the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Although, if we assume the legend is true, I have an idea what climb for the heavens might mean.
Oh?
The mansion has an observation tower.
No, that's where we just went, isn't it?
Or, I suppose, what used to be an observation tower. At any rate, it is quite a tall structure. This is the house where the witch was supposedly born. A tower reaching for the heavens seems like the perfect place to find her, if she really is here.
Oh yes. I remember seeing a rather tall structure as I first approached the mansion.
Would you like to see it?
Of course. Please lead the way.
The two of them left the library and made their way to the room with the stained glass window. At the far end of that room were the stairs to the observation tower. The tale of the witch had piqued the white-haired girl's interest, inspiring her to put herself forward to satisfy that curiosity. She had, after all, been accused of being a witch herself, so she undoubtedly felt an affinity to that legend. What a sweet girl she was.
I don't like this. Oh, what if she gets killed here? Oh, no.
With Michelle in the lead, the two climbed a long, long spiral staircase. There were many more stairs than the white-haired girl had anticipated. She had soon found herself short of breath. Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in regular intervals. Peering through one of them, she could see a village in the distance. A pleasantly cool, high-altitude breeze brushed across her face. After much climbing, they finally arrived at the top, where the door made of partially rotted wood stood.
It's still rotted.
Michelle pulled open the door, revealing a small room with no windows or doors in sight. That is not an observation room, then. What the heck? There's a window right there.
This was the same picture that we were shown during Elle's story time with Mo, and I don't want to be here. This is the top of the tower?
Despite it being called an observation tower, you could hardly observe anything from there.
There you go, Jade.
Her face contorted in confusion. The white-haired girl threw her gaze about the room. Glancing up, she saw only a darkened ceiling, and slightly below it, a single small window through which shone a little ray of light. The beam cleaved through the darkness like the sharpened blade of a beautiful sword. The darkness draped over the rest of the room only served to make more impressive that solitary ray of light. It had a magical fairy tale quality to it. As if being pulled in by it, she drew toward the light. I suspect there was once a large window in this room. If you look closely, you can see seams in the stone of the wall. The color of the stone differs slightly on either side of the seams. I presume something caused them to seal off the window after it was built, though I don't know what that something might be.
Oh, we finally get to see her.
When Michelle's eyes fell upon the white-haired girl wrapped in the... Wait, why haven't we seen Giselle now? We got her name a while ago.
That's true. I guess the maid forever likes saying the white-haired girl.
Okay. When Michelle's eyes fell upon the white-haired girl wrapped in that beam of light, he sputtered to a stop. The man who never flinched at anything, who had long since distanced himself from such stirrings of the heart, was utterly bewitched. He had never seen her illuminated so vividly before, and he was having a great deal of trouble finding the words to describe her striking beauty. For someone who had been chased out of her home and accused of being a witch, the white-haired girl looked less like a practitioner of the dark arts, and more like one of the host of heaven. Michel undoubtedly felt the same way, for his gaze was fixed firmly upon her.
Oh. Oh. Dazzling, isn't it? Like a staircase leading to heaven.
Yes, perhaps so.
Is something the matter?
No, I'm fine.
Oh. Wait, hold on. Oh. She's so pretty. You know, it feels like there's something odd in the air here. It feels like someone actually might be listening.
If the witch were to speak to you, what would you say to her?
I would ask her to tell me her true feelings, to tell me what kind of person she was, and what kind of pain she had to endure. I just want to know what she felt. This woman people branded as a witch.
The legend was written from a neutral perspective.
Not gonna lie, I would have done the same thing.
It's possible she was a fearsome witch. It's also possible she wasn't.
I get the feeling she was just persecuted, like me. Like me and you.
Unlike you, I truly am impure. Disagree all you want, but my touch kills. I'm a strange, incomprehensible, irrational creature. Or maybe I'm not even a living being, and that's why when I touch something that is, I bring them death.
If only I actually were a witch. If only I actually had some kind of extraordinary power. Regardless of whether it came from God or the devil. Then I would be able to grant people's wishes.
My wish need not be granted.
But it's what I want to. I wish to be able to touch you. I would be perfectly content with nothing changing, with us never being able to touch one another. I would be more than happy with that. But I'm allowed to dream, aren't I? It doesn't have to be in this life.
No, this is why she got cursed. No!
I pray the day will come that we can get closer, even if it has to happen in another life.
So that's why she keeps coming back? Because she wanted it so badly, but the despair has to outweigh the happy? Is that what's going on here? And what's up with the maid?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Then why does she doesn't change? Her appearance is always the same, aside from like a few things here and there, like the hair and the eyes.
Yeah, her appearance is always the same.
But the men in her life
name's
have been
always
different.
the same. Yeah, the men are
Her
always...
backstories keep changing, but like...
It's the same main thing, though, like persecuted for a witch.
Yeah.
Besides the third door. But she was still, like... has always been, like, weak in the sun.
Mm-hmm. I am deeply saddened. Happiness is very much a stranger to me, but am I allowed to dream too?
You are.
I will never touch you, I swear it. But I would like to dream about it. I would like to imagine placing my hand upon your cheek.
You can. Oh no. Reach your hand out for me.
Oh, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared.
I will imagine it too. I am imagining your fingers running through my hair, brushing against my skin,
Can he touch hair? Hair is not alive. It's dead cells.
I don't know. But, like, it's so easy to touch your scalp, especially her hair's so short. I don't know. I can feel your warmth.
There was a wall between them. A wall they could not cross. For if they did, it would mean the white-haired girl's death. No matter how much they yearned for it, they could not touch one another. So they did so within the confines of their imagination, envisioning it in as much detail as they could manage. It was sad, but sweet, a moment of pristine, untainted beauty. The two of them emanated serenity, as fitting as the word cursed might have been to the mansion as a whole. At the top of the observation tower, a pure bond was being shared. A fleeting moment between a young man with a cursed touch and a kind-hearted, beautiful girl. The dream did not last long. No, for God is quite cruel.
Why? Why? It's still too early for this.
They simply wanted to be together. That was all. Their wish was hardly unreasonable. Only a quiet, peaceful life together. But misfortune was creeping ever near, its footsteps growing more and more pronounced.
No. Hey you! Yeah, you! Did you like the video?
Maybe consider subscribing? We like your company.
Okay!
See you next video.